What's up, guys? Um, so I just found out that apparently to be able to go live on YouTube now, you have to have 1,000 subscribers. So we're gonna try to work on that because I think I'm only at like maybe 40. I don't even think I'm there. I think I'm way lower than that. I don't know. We'll find out. Today's conversation is gonna be probably about 20-30 minutes, maybe less. I'm not sure. Might keep it shorter. You see on here on my right hand side, got the wonderful Notorious Face Hugger, just like seen here. That doesn't give away the topic of the conversation. Then maybe the hat does. USS Covenant. If that doesn't, well, then you might be on the wrong channel. So basically, excuse me, sorry. Basically, my girlfriend and our children, we were watching Alien Covenant and Prometheus the other day, and I was trying to explain to him about the original aliens. I mean, you know, I don't think he's really watched very many of them, if any of them at all. But as everybody knows, the original alien lands on, the Nostromo lands on LV-426. Bullshit. Okay. And Covenant, it's LVL-21 or LVL-12 or some shit like that. It's really random. Okay. There's a few things that make sense to that as I'm putting everything together, but in Alien, it took 24 to 42 hours or some shit like that for the alien to gestate inside of a living human. And after that, it became that little larva-looking alien and ran around and molted and finally became the xenomorph that we all grew to know, fear, and love. Here's the kicker. As David in Prometheus finds the black liquid, black goo, he makes a discovery that it is a bioweapon. Basically, it creates different. It brings it to life. It changes what's in front of you to something different. Not necessarily a good thing either. In Alien Covenant, he goes into detail on how he started after he released the compound. He talks about how it affected the various creatures, and it bred a hybrid form of that creature, basically. And it goes down the line of each individual time he tried to hybridize it himself, and the genetical issues that it had. You could see in the facial distortions and shit. And then you get to the neomorph, which was pretty interesting. It was pretty cool, and it was legitimately from a fungal piece of fungus growing out of the ground. The spores were infected with that black biochemical weapon, and within literally 30 minutes, it had begun to transform the DNA and reconstruct inside the host, and within, I want to say, like 30 minutes, it bursts out of the dude's back, it comes out of the dude's mouth. It's all fucking weird, right? It was fucking 30 minutes. It's like time-lapse in the movie. It's fucking not what you're used to in an alien, in like the Alien saga. It takes a minute. It doesn't happen in 24 hours in Covenant. It takes minutes, maybe an hour max. Well, when now I can't even remember their names. It wasn't Shaw. When the product of Shaw and David's experimenting on Dr. Shaw, Captain Oram goes in search of one of his missing crew members to find the neomorph already ate her, and David is trying to communicate with it, and he shoots it. Excuse me for a minute. Oh, there we go. Sorry. And David gets mad, and he says, if I've met the devil, and I've never forgot. If you don't tell me what's going on, I'm going to fuck up your perfect composure. Quote, unquote, here. So David goes and it shows him the genealogy of his creations. He takes him into the room to find the eggs that we're all used to seeing, and he says it's waiting for Mother, which it's very give and take here. Take it how you want to. Are they waiting for a host as Mother, or are they waiting for the queen? Like, he's waiting till the queen comes and can breed more, and they can then no longer stay in the egg form, because she'd be able to create that living atmosphere that you saw in the original Alien. You also saw in Aliens, and in Alien Resurrection, you also then again saw it. You also saw it in Alien versus Predator. After the queen was thawed out, like, you see the slimy shit that gets laid out. It gets laid out by what's considered a drone. It goes out and it basically creates a hive, and that's how the facehuggers can come out of the eggs and stay in a breathable atmosphere for them until they find the host. So there's that possible theory there. And then Oram gets the facehugger on him, and it cuts to a scene of Daniels trying to get the remainder, the last guy, basically, or the last two guys, ready to go. Tennessee's on his way down, and after, about a brief, like, probably a 10-minute time span, okay, of Daniels talking to, why can't I think of his name? God damn it. It's David, but it's not David. It's a newer model. I'll think of his name in a minute. But she fucking yells at him, trying to figure out, like, where the fuck David's at. And it goes on and it goes on for literally like 2 minutes of us watching it. So that's like about a 10-15 minute time span. And then it shoots back to David and Oram in the egg chamber. And here's the catchy part, right? If you pay attention, at that exact moment when David's waiting for the creature to burst forth out of Oram's chest, there's a second egg that was beginning to open. And pay attention, because as the movie continues, you see it when the two guys go looking for their captain. The one guy finds him with his chest open, and there's a facehugger running around. But what trips me out is what burst out of Oram's chest was legitimately not a larva form. It was legitimately the skinny, scrawny, exact copy of a xenomorph that you see on the ceiling in the movie. Like, the genetical altering that David is doing is not only changing the way the xenomorph becomes a xenomorph and is fast or slow, it's faster now, and then on top of that you got, it's not a larva coming out and molting skin, it comes out and is just a skinny version, and he communicates with it. So I digress from that and go, as the movie continues, the second one gets on board, because when the facehugger jumps on the dude's face, before they cut it off, he obviously got impregnated, which shows that it doesn't take that long. It gets the thing down your throat and lays an egg, or drops I don't know, a chemical, a liquid. It's not an egg, it's just part of its blood or DNA. I don't know. They left the end of Covenant open for a goddamn another movie. And I know it's coming. Everybody told me the Alien and Predator were dead franchises 5 years ago now. And lo and behold, we got Alien Covenant and we got The Predator, which comes out to being something completely better than most people gave it credit for. So the genetical upbringing that David altered of the alien from Prometheus to Covenant. Like, we saw Ridley Scott's original design of the xenomorph in Prometheus. That thing where its jaw just kind of like lunged out, kind of like a shark jaw. That was his original design. What we got was way scarier. And there's no faulting him in that. None. He was a visionary. He saw, he went for, and it nailed it. To this day, it's 40 years of still one of the most terrifying aliens ever to be created. But what he did with Prometheus and Alien Covenant and how he's changing it, we're in a generation and in a time frame in our lives where back when Alien came out, there was no concept, not broadcast throughout national TV, not cartoons talking about it, nothing. There was not this huge, there was a group of people who believed it, but it wasn't believed by the masses. It wasn't taught as actual science. It was just considered fiction, I think is what I want. Non-fiction, fiction. Non-fiction. Fiction. God damn it, I was never good with those two words. But it was always told as a fairy tale to us. You know what I'm saying? And now we're in a generation where different planes of existence aren't hard to believe. Like, it's not hard for me to explain it to my 7-year-old daughter that there could be an infinite amount of versions of you and I walking around on different planes and in different times, like different time lapses, and she gets it. She's also my daughter, and she also loves watching Rick and Morty. So I mean, she gets the idea based off the fucking cartoon. But if you look at every game that has ever been created from the original Nintendo games, when you were walking in the fucking sewers of the LV-426 compound as Ellen Ripley burning aliens trying to find Newt, okay, that followed the movies. It followed what was out already. Now they find Ellen Ripley 57 years floating in space in Aliens, right? Her daughter's dead, but yet we just got a game like 5 years ago, Alien Isolation, where you play as Amanda Ripley, who is in space looking for her mother and the Nostromo. And when you bought the upgraded edition, you got to play as Ellen Ripley, you got to play as Captain Dallas, and you got to play as Lambert, I think. Or no, not Lambert. Parker. You got to play as Parker. And here's the catch, right? It was legitimately based in the same time frame as when Alien was out. Like the time on the it tells you what year, what month. It tells you the crew, the cargo, and everything of the Nostromo. And I am a little fuzzy on the year. The cargo was like 6 million or billion tons of mineral ore. So, point in case is we're in a time frame right now where what Ridley Scott is doing is perfect. He's showing how a colony came to be of these aliens. Because, remember, in the Covenant, they were a colony expedition because they're killing Earth. You know what I mean? Like, they're using all the resources. So, it would make sense that there would be a colony somewhere that would make it possible to inhabit humans that, you know, was 400 years earlier than when the Nostromo actually took off. I do believe, if my time frames aren't totally fucked up, I could be wrong on the time frames, but LVL 12 and LV 426 aren't that obviously that far off in the planetary systems, because it wasn't habitable, so the Covenant didn't try to stop on it like they were going to Origai 6. Now, here's the kicker. And if Ridley Scott plays it properly in Origai 6, Origai 6 is a perfectly, like, compatible Earth. David is on the ship, and the only one that knows it's him is Daniels. David can wake Tennessee up and act like he's Walter. That's the guy's name. There we go, Walter. He can act like he's Walter and be like, she started having a panic attack when I was putting her into cryo sleep, started screaming that I was David. I wanted to wake you up and warn you because she was very violent. Like, she's not right in the head. You need to basically not hold a mutiny because it's only one guy, but take over control of everything so she doesn't have anything to say. And let Tennessee take over. David will continue doing his work and his research on the 2,000 other colonists because he has 2 facehuggers that he brought out as embryos. So it would make perfect sense for one of those facehuggers to produce a queen, and he could Ridley Scott could sacrifice Daniels, because what the fuck does she have to live for? Her husband burnt to death in the fucking cryo tube at the beginning of Covenant. Fucking the android Walter that was supposed to help her build a house is now David, and she has nothing going for her. It would make sense, like perfect fucking sense, for a descendant of Ellen Ripley, and I say descendant because I'm gonna throw a curveball at you. It would make sense to have a descendant of Ellen Ripley be one of the 2,000 colonists, or one of the second generation embryos. So we're talking long term here. We're talking at least another 3 fucking movies, because you have a second generation of embryos that have to be planted into a woman, like surgically or whatever. A whole fucking planet colonized, babies being made in the old-fashioned natural way, and all of this, okay? So, yep, kids are home. Right on. So, you're gonna have a very big plot twist. I'm at 18 minutes. I need to make sure they don't come in and wake up the baby, and I have to learn how to upload this video to my YouTube. So, stay tuned. After this uploads, watch it. Give me a couple shares, or give me a share, a like. Let your friends know. I will be talking about aliens for probably the next 2 or 3 streams, maybe. I will be streaming some Spider-Man action, and maybe some other stuff. I'm not entirely sure just yet, but hopefully you guys have enjoyed my fan theories and my ideas on how this shit works, and we will be getting into a list of other shit. So it's good being back, and I will be here again very soon. See ya.